Hi, so my name is Lyndsay Sprado. I come from a small town in northern Alberta called Peace River. It's where I grew up. I have lived in a few provinces across Canada so far in my young life. And I currently actually live in Nagano, Japan, in a small town in Japanese standards called Karizawa, working for an international education organization at a specific school on Mount Asama, which is an active volcano in Japan. I mean, I guess it's interesting. The story that I have is mostly career, or like driven by education and career. And I just like saw some of your videos are very focused that somebody talks about their business, or Emily was talking about food security, which is something she's super passionate about. Um, I don't know if it's something that's come up in any of your stories yet, but for me, I think to be a little bit more vulnerable right now, I'm a little bit disappointed in the fact that my story is only career, which is kind of weird to say because it's been an amazing. I'm so grateful and so lucky that that has been my life. I wouldn't change it for the world, but there is a key component that has been missing for a long time for me, and I'm slowly understanding more and more. But I do think that like there's sacrifice that comes with pursuing career as much as I have been. Um, Talking about happiness with my mom and my brother a lot, and like how that's defined and what that means and why there's more depression in the world. And I think it comes from having relationships. And one of the things that I've sacrificed because I've moved so many places is just friendships and um, like a love partner relationship. And it's sad to say in like a rah female focused, independent, celebrating International Women's Day, but there's a key component for me that is missing. Um, and I actually have absolutely no idea how to pursue that or find that. And just the component of choosing where you are in life. I do actively think we choose the life that we have, um, but with choosing career, I've chosen a lot more stress, a lot more unhealthy lifestyles, a lot more risks that I've put myself in, which have also given me these amazing adventures. But ultimately, that sense of like fulfillment, I do something that I believe in that matches my values, that I feel like I'm supporting change in the world, which are all amazing things. And I'm so grateful. I'm beyond grateful. But there's still something that's really missing for me. And I don't think that that means that I've failed or that I haven't, I won't find that ever, but it is something that affects me a lot in terms of surviving the adventures. I'm tired of doing the adventures on my own, sort of. So I didn't want to come off in this conversation as like I'm portraying this amazing career and life that I'm super grateful to have. Um, but it also kind of sounds selfish or weird to say it's not enough. Um, but those simple relationships are really important. And I think that a lot of people will see different ways of life. Like I look at my friends that have kids and husbands, and they look at my life and think about the freedom and the adventures that I get to have. And I look at them and look at the comfort and the love and support that they have. And so we see very different things in one another when we don't have it. And that aspect of having it all and like being able to have it all, I have no idea how to set that up. I hope it can happen, but I don't know if it's as easy as you can see it portrayed on like social media on TV. It's funny that I said it was to focus on me, because it was. Um, I really became much more independent and strong, and knew that I could do it by myself. Um, but I have allowed work to be an avoidance of focusing on me, if that makes sense. I always sign up and volunteer, and I'm still writing my thesis. Like I do everything possible to not feel, I think. And that was part of the point of moving to St. Catharines and to Brock, was that I had to get out of the feelings that I was having in terms of grief. Because I don't know if I would have survived. Um, it was, yeah, grief is one of those super powerful things that um, it gets easier and easier with time, 100%. But it's sadder and sadder as well with time. And so having a job that got me out of bed every morning, and then that got me away from everything, like the fact that I got to spend 3 weeks in Nigeria, um, scared the crap out of my family, but was everything that I needed to keep my senses alert and excited, and to just not be that person. I think that I was when I was home, which was heartbroken and alone. Um, Going to Japan after that was sort of like going for the dream job, and I'll move anywhere for it. But I feel like, again, I fully sacrificed a group of friends and a potential partner for the job. And it's weird to say that I'm much lonelier in Japan um, than I was at the time that I was heartbroken and lonely. And I think that I'm still learning how to be open to relationships, because I've been um, so hurt out, and none of it has ever been in my control. If that so, with death and not with death, just in terms of breakups and who you become in a relationship, and how to be your best self, which was a question that I asked myself a lot when I moved to St. Catharines, was that I wasn't proud of who I was. I wasn't proud of who I was with. I wasn't proud of who I was as that person with that person. And that I really wanted to find someone that made me want to be better. And I still want that, but I'm not sure I know. The longer I've been single, um, the longer that I've been sort of like searching for that, the harder it seems to be open, because every potential hope that gets dashed seems harder and harder as you go through it. Like, uh, yeah, I think it's become harder and harder to be open and be focused on myself, and so you avoid as much as you can in terms of doing good things for the world and doing good things for the students and the kids, and um, avoiding the things that make me vulnerable at this point. So I actually think it's the opposite. While I moved there to be focused on myself, I revived myself in terms of breathing and living. But I think I'm more closed than I've been in terms of vulnerability and relationships. Yeah, having a home is also an interesting like, I know single people that have built their homes off of hopes and dreams, right? That they have that space and that community and that thing that they go to, which has also been like the last 2 years, at least for me, I don't have at all. um, and the homelessness feeling of coming home for the summer. This is not my home. I'm not at home. uh, and I like bouncing around between staying with people and where I go back to Japan, it's not home either for me. And that was one thing I think about moving to St. Catharines. Like I did build myself a space that was mine, only mine, for the first time. That did that did revive me a lot. And so that the space that you're in is really huge and really important in terms of the investment that you give it. And not having that too is tough. But uh, it's nice to think about being able to get that again somewhere. And I was not supposed to return to Japan. I had been hired in New Mexico at the UWC there, and I didn't get my visa. So there's like it's been a whole year of I was the last year of my contract. I spent it trying to leave Japan. I got the job, and then I didn't get the visa fast enough, and an American swooped in and they gave the job to him. And I'm glad that like it's all good. But I had hired to replace myself in Japan already. So I was jobless for a couple moments, and I'm going to start a new job at the school this year, which I'm excited about. But I spent the last year trying to leave, to stay within the movement that I believe in and care so much about, but just to go somewhere that's in the same time zone or a similar time zone as the people that I still have relationships with, because I think I feel myself becoming so much more distanced from them because it's so hard to talk. And it seems so simple, but the time difference is so unbelievably difficult to manage, and to want to talk when other people want to talk, to like be vulnerable on the phone with somebody you can be vulnerable with, is really hard to do at 7 a.m. Or at 10 p.m. I have found, and for them too, we're very have different friendships and different relationships because of the time difference, really, and just because of how separate my life has become. So the fact that I'm going back in general is pretty shocking. But I do love the kids. But I'm hoping that this year and this new job will make it easier for me to transition to another UWC, somewhere with a little bit less of a time difference. And maybe that's where I'm supposed to be, because I've also found that I've been extremely lucky in life to get the jobs that I've gotten, and they've all sort of happened in that magical story kind of way. I made a joke when I was 18. I got a Japanese symbol as a tattoo, and a couple years ago I made a joke that I needed to get rid of it, or I needed to move to Japan so that I had like a connection to the culture and to the language. So now I don't need to get the tattoo removed. But it was such a joke because I was never going to Japan. I think that like even my relationships with the kids, is there's like a border of who I am to them as well, because I'm not authentically being, or I don't know who I am, and so it's much harder to build like friendships and with my peers, or like influence the kids. The kids, I love them, and some of them really bond, but yeah, I think that there's that. You have to know yourself before you can really have the kind of relationships uh, that you really want to have. And so it's not even just about a partner, but putting out that manifestation of like, who am I, or who do I want to be, I think is probably what I need to do more than anything.